President Biden pledging to complete the evacuations of Americans and allies from Afghanistan by August 31st still, despite pleas from Democrats and Republicans to push the deadline. Joining me right now is Fox News senior strategic analyst, General Jack Keane. General, thanks very much for being here. What a debacle we find ourselves in this morning. General, first question for you. Should the U.S. respond to ISIS, and how?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And listen, every president, when we've had a terrorist attack like this, we have always responded. We've always had the patience to stick with it, the dogged determination to focus on it. Yes, they will eventually pay a price. It may not be tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow if we have the intel. But we will stay on top of this for sure. I'm very confident in that. And they will ultimately pay the price for what they've done. These are murderers who have done this. They clearly wanted to humiliate the United States on the way out. They wanted to hurt the Afghan people who were trying to exit the country. They lost 94. We lost 13 of our marvelous troops. And listen, I want to commend the troops for what they've done here. I mean, they got in here on very short notice. We've got 104,000 people out, likely more than that, because that was the number we had last evening. And I'm sure they've been flying all day today in Afghanistan. And that is really significant, Maria, in terms of the amount of people now who are going to be free from the tentacles of the Taliban and have a life to go forward and lead. Heart goes out to the family, certainly, of the tragedy that took place yesterday.
Well, our hearts, of course, go out to the families, and it's a dark day, knowing that we lost these 13 incredible heroes when, in fact, we knew that an attack was coming, General. Okay? On Sunday, Tom Cotton and Secretary Pompeo both told me that they are expecting an attack. The Biden administration ramped up the terrorism worries that there was something imminent that was about to happen. How did this happen that we lost 13 of our heroes when we knew an attack was imminent?
Yeah, well, that's going to be looked at for some time. I think a couple of problems that we had here. One is we certainly had excellent security at the airport itself. We brought in multiple brigades of infantry soldiers to do that. We put a division commander of the 82nd Airborne Division in charge of those troops that were there. They were Army troops and Marines. But the problem is we didn't have an outer cordon to protect the airfield is something we would normally want to do. In other words, have a security space from that outer cordon to the airport that we're in control of. Well, we were not in control of that. The Taliban was in control of that, and we sort of outsourced the security situation to the Taliban to make certain that the checkpoints where people would have to pass through who are coming to the airport, make certain that there's no person carrying a suicide bomb, and there's no vehicle carrying one either. Well, obviously that broke down, and the terrorists were able to penetrate those checkpoints. We were not manning those checkpoints. The Taliban was manning that checkpoints. In my own view, either we should have been at those checkpoints with the Taliban or we should have been manning them by ourselves. One or the other. There had to be U.S. presence there, in my judgment.
And I agree, and I'm an outsider looking in. I've been questioning, why are we trusting the Taliban from the beginning? And then we get this report that President Biden admitted that the administration gave the Taliban a list of names of Americans and green card holders and Afghans who aided, who we wanted to help out of the country, that they needed to be evacuated. I mean, this shocking move likely put a target on their backs, General. Why give a list of the people that are most important to us to the Taliban?
Well, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I know why if it did happen, why it happened. Obviously, they want to be able to get people through these checkpoints. You know, we had a heck of a problem. Everybody who's ever been to Afghanistan, including myself, has been involved in trying to get people out. And the biggest problem we had was getting through the Taliban checkpoints. So I think that's the reason why the list was given. But I go back to my original point. We should have had the checklist in our hand, and we should have had U.S. soldiers, U.S. Marines at that checkpoint with the Taliban if we wanted to partner with them. I absolutely believe that whole security zone from the outer core onto the airport should have been completely under U.S. control.
Well, it sounds like we should have done a lot of things that we didn't do, like we should not have closed Bagram Air Base without knowing that we had all the civilians out. General, real quick before you go, now that we're almost all out of Afghanistan, how are we ever going to respond to terrorist attacks? Isn't it true that the topography of Afghanistan will make it very difficult for us to have any eyes and ears on the ground and really be able to get the intel that you're referring to?
No, there's no doubt about that. I mean, it's wishful thinking when we talk about over the horizon. Listen, we had multiple CIA base presence inside of Afghanistan whose single purpose it was to track the al-Qaeda. The al-Qaeda has regained their safe haven. Why? Taliban's in control of the country. We surrendered it to them. The safe haven has been reestablished. That's a fact, and it's just going to grow. Other foreign terrorists are going to come as well. Our problem is, without that presence on the ground, they actually see what's happening, be connected to the Afghan people, be connected to the Afghan security forces. The human intelligence you get from that is significant. And the over-horizon capability is just not going to be there in any substantive way. Listen, are we going to attempt to do that? Will we do the best we can? Of course we will. And we'll put our shoulder into this quite remarkably. But all the original plan is to keep 2,500 folks there, keep the situation as imperfect as it is, stalemated. Taliban can't take over. Government can't defeat the Taliban. But we can make certain that there's no terrorist haven being formed in Afghanistan. That was the purpose. We pulled that out. It's going to be very difficult to have that kind of clarity on what has taken place, even more so now when we know that foreign terrorists are going to come to Afghanistan, because they have never had a nation state before like they have now. And obviously the Taliban are the premier radical Islamist organization in the world. Recruiting's going up, financing's going up. The world's become a more dangerous place as a result of it. And let me just add this. Ending this so-called forever war, I mean, we have expanded this war, and that's very obvious, and our intelligence agencies are very much aware of it.
We all need to say a prayer this morning for our heroes on the ground, our incredible troops, and for America in general. We are in dangerous waters. General, thanks very much for weighing in this morning. General Jack Keane. We'll be right back.